Welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who is currently wearing a massive hat. It's John Levingood.
Well, I mean, doesn't that make sense for your general, peripheral vision if you're operating a helicopter?
I mean, just, you are wearing a gigantic hat. Sombrero-esque
like one
hat.
of those ridiculous, sombreros they give you on your birthday at those offensive Mexican restaurants.
Now, you're not wearing a Norm Macdonald big hat, like an SNL Jeopardy. That's just funny. You are wearing, it's, you know what's funny about, alright, so we're going to be talking about The Thing. It's our 250th episode, John. Can you believe it?
Yep, and for any listeners who are just chiming in, that's The Thing 1982.
Yeah, not The Thing 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Now, every 25th episode, we cover a Kurt Russell film. So our last one was Tombstone. The one before it was Soldier. Now we're on Thing, and this is a big boy. This is a big boy Kurt. I'm not saying there's little guy Kurt Russell movies.
No,
I'm just saying
this is fair, because 100 episodes or more ago, we would talk about which Kurt Russell episode to do next, and we were kind of at the time intimidated by the prospect of approaching The Thing.
Yeah, I think it's one of those movies that I think it's been covered a lot, right? And you and I, we like to cover Captain Ron. We like to cover Soldier, the lesser known Russell pictures.
Right.
And I think we had to get this out of the way. And you bought a great big hat for it. And did you know that Kurt Russell didn't even know about the hat? They filmed some second unit stuff, and then he got stuck with the hat. And there's a really funny scene where they're at the alien spaceship, and during the commentary, it's Kurt Russell and John Carpenter, and Kurt Russell's like, you can't hear any of the dialogue. You just look at the hat. He's like, the hat is the main character in this scene. But I appreciate that you're wearing it, man. You look great. You're wearing the hat. You know what I mean? You're wearing it.
10-gallon Dallas hat.
It's not wearing you, John. Does that make sense?
I mean, some people think the hat makes the man, but I like to think the man makes the hat.
No, yeah. That's you know what, John? That's perfect, because you don't look self-conscious in it. I could see you walking down the street, and people wouldn't be like, check out this guy who wants attention. People would be like, check out this guy. He's doing it.
I'm a large guy. I need a large hat.
You would inspire at least 3 people to consider or buy the same hat because you pulled it off. You're pulling it off so well.
Now I want to get this hat for the next convention that I attend.
You're rocking it, man. You're doing it. You could grow the beard out, but we haven't been planning for this for a year. It took Russell, a year to grow out that beard, which seems, I feel like Kurt Russell shaves and he grows the beard the next day like Santa Claus. So I don't really buy that it only took him a year to grow that beard.
Or like Kirsten Dunst in Interview with a Vampire. Like you cut it and it just grows right back.
Yeah, exactly. It's just shaved back. So he said it took him a year to grow that beard. Now, John, before we get going into The Thing, 1982, should we say The Thing 1982 every time, or just the Thing?
I just want to throw that out up front. I think we have some loyal listeners who just download the next episode and it might say The Thing. And if you're a young listener, you might be like, oh, right, that thing with Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Dorman Giantsbane.
Joel Edgerton.
Right.
And so, the guy from Dumb and Dumber.
We're just not talking about that, and maybe one day we will, but that's not this episode.
Now, all right, I have a question, John. This is a really random question, but I was watching this movie, and I got the Scream Factory Blu-ray of this film, which has a load of commentaries. It is a 50-minute interview with the cast, and they were talking about it, and this guy was saying, at the time, in 1982, The Thing did not do well. It opened 2 weeks after E.T., and so that was still eating up all the multiplexes. And this was in 1982, this is Ebert called it a barf bag of a movie. I mean, this is a bleak, dogs get Twinkie syrup spit at them, dogs people just get murdered, and there's humor in it. There's humor to be found, but there's very little humor. And the humor is kind of gallows humor at a certain point. But yeah, so a lot of people didn't get into this movie in 82. The reviews weren't too kind. Now it's looked at as an absolute classic. But I was thinking about this, John, and we covered on this briefly during our 60-second or less character podcast, which is still one of my favorites that we've ever done. It just makes me so happy whenever I see those characters. But John, any 3 movies ever made, you could be a supporting character in them. Not like a main supporting role, but like a Fuchs from this movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any 3 movies ever made, you could be a character in? Which 3 movies? And I have my 3 if you want me to like.
Oh God. What an ambush. Ladies and gentlemen, I did not see this coming.
Yeah. And so
okay.
I basically blindsided you like The Thing did to a lot of these people.
Okay. The Fifth Element.
Ooh. What would you want to be in that movie?
Maybe part of Chris Tucker's entourage.
Nice.
Maybe one of the supportive military personnel under captain, starts with an M. That guy who always plays the bad guys who recruited Bruce Willis for the mission. Maybe one of his subordinates or someone in the lab when they first put Lilu together.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the. But either way, I think that would be a great movie to be a supporting character in without a high probability of dying. Because I'm thinking without a high probability of dying. See, I'm not going to say The Thing, for example. True Lies.
Oh.
I'd love to be a supporting character in True Lies, one of the people in the CIA discussion room, that kind of MI6 discussion room, maybe part of Harry Tasker's team. They all seem to get out alive all the time, despite all the danger he brings to the table. And here's the left fielder. I would like to be one of the academics investigating all the different sound waves and energy waves in the house in Poltergeist.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, but I'm picking some of my all-time favorite movies, which simplifies my choices, right? But those are where I'd aim. What about you? How would you approach this?
I have a massive list. Like, I would have loved to have been Michael Rappaport's character in Deep Blue Sea. I would have loved to have been one of the Vikings in the 13th Warrior, one of the fighters in Bloodsport, one of the baseball players in Major League, one of the football players in Replacements, one of the high school students in Dazed and Confused. Now,
I love the Replacements choice.
Now, we'll take out The Thing because I was in The Thing, but if I took that out, I have some pretty good ones that I would swap. So you know this from our 60-second character pod. I would want to be a pilot in Star Wars: A New Hope, one of the guys who attacks it.
I almost went with the Star Wars movie, but again, I decided to choose based on low probability of death.
Because Wedge is on screen for about 7 seconds, and he's just a national treasure. So for me,
Wedge die?
No, Wedge Wedge lives. Yeah, he lives all the way through those. He's in the end dancing with Chewbacca with the Ewoks. So, but I remember I joked. I said I want to be Elvis Antilles. Like, I'm an Elvis character in a cockpit. Oh, he's on me. He's gonna get me. Wait, I don't even know what accent that was. But I would just like to be a pilot that just says he's on me, and then someone's like, "Stay on target." I can't hold him. Stay on target. Are you serious? And then I'd like to be blown up. But I want to be blown up in the trench run. And I had to have a mustache. All right?
See, I don't want to be blown up.
Yeah, see, I want to get exploded. But I want to have a really long one. He's on me. Just hold on. Well, I'm trying.
But you're going to die.
Well, listen, because then I could do one of those. Like, I would do a really shrill scream. So people watch it and they would be like, I still don't. Like, I would be the guy that George Lucas edits in his edits to get rid of my scream. And then people do a because someone did a documentary about the stormtrooper that hit his head in A New Hope when the door didn't open all the way. So I want to be the pilot that just does the weirdest scream ever. Something like that.
Oh, wait, do you mean if you were an actor?
Yeah, an actor. So I'm in the movie.
When you said in which of these movies would you want to be a character, I thought you meant like if that was your life. And that's why I was picking things where you don't die.
Oh, so I'm making up a character. And then, George Lucas changes my scream because it was too crazy for everybody. Then I'd want to be in Die Hard.
They're going to call it the Hoffmeyer scream. They'll
instead of the Wilhelm.
Right.
Yeah, I'd want oh, yeah. So then I want to be in Die Hard. I'd want to be one of the guys that's just one of the terrorists in it.
You're going to die.
Yeah, exactly. But I want to be, I want a turtleneck. I want a long black shirt turtleneck, right? And just running around. I get some good licks in. I'm one of the guys shooting the glass. I'm the guy that gets shot. I'm the guy that's at the front desk. How's that sound? And then I get shot.
So you know how there's the long-haired guy and his brother is Tony Vresky?
Yeah.
Right? What if there was a third brother? You could be the third brother.
Oh, man. That'd be great.
Yeah?
So
and that way two brothers, when he's pissed off and he breaks up like that kind of like concession tray, when he sees the ho, now I have a machine gun. Like, what if it was two brothers pissed off at once? You could be one of those brothers.
Oh, man. Like O'Doyle Rules type.
Right.
Just running around whomping on people. And then, you're going to like this one. I had this one. I want to be the guy in Good Will Hunting that Will Hunting says, "How do you like them apple?"
That particular guy.
Yeah. So So
who looks a lot like Tony Vresky's brother.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to be that guy. And so like, hey Mark, have you ever been in movies? Yeah, you know the apple scene, and I was gonna say You Got Mail. And Good Will Hunting? Yeah, I know that scene. I was that guy. I was the how about them apples guy. So I'm a how about them apples guy. I'm one of the brothers, and then I'm the weird screaming pilot.
I maintain though that the how do you like them apples guy, that must have been the son of Tony Vresky's brother.
I like that.
Because that dude was another long-haired blonde Swede.
Yeah. So there's 4 of them.
No, there's 4, right?
But what do you think, man? I know that I sidetracked this, but I just had to talk about that because I would love to be in The Thing. The reason we went on that tangent is this movie just, it's not dying. So we're recording this today, right? And my cousin today, you don't know what today is. So we're recording this, and on the day we're recording, my cousin sent me a random message saying, hey, I just bought my tickets for a 35 millimeter print to go see this, and he lives in Minneapolis. I just posted this up on Instagram. If you go to Movies, Films, and Flicks on our Instagram, they just played at the Plaza Theater. So this is a movie that, since 82, is just, it's not going anywhere. People love these characters. People love Rob Boutein's practical effects that are just so gooey and gross. They love the claustrophobia, the intelligence of it. I mean, this movie, John Carpenter, right? I listened to this interview. He said this is the hardest movie that he's ever shot. And this is an interview he filmed a couple years ago. So they went on location. They shot in LA, but they had to cool down the studio to make it look like everything was cold. I mean, this was like a really technically tough, challenging movie. And it's also, I thought it was pretty interesting that this was also John Carpenter's first major studio picture. So he kept talking about this with his cinematographer, the guy that worked with him, Dean Cunley. So Dean Cunley also worked on Escape from New York, Halloween, The Fog, those kind of movies. This was their first film at Assault on Precinct 13, Halloween, The Fog, Escape from New York. Those weren't like major motion pictures. So this one they went to Universal. They had a real budget. They had, $10 million. They had $200,000 for creature effects, which was like the most ever. But then the shooting went like 98 days. The budget jumped up to $20 million. But it's just, I don't know, man. This was the first time Carpenter had money and time to work. And he made an all-timer, I think.
You know what I think is cool? Because I didn't know any of this, right? What I think is cool about that is that it looks to me, a lot of times you give people money and then they're not being forced to be as creative, and they do the expensive easy stuff and then they phone in the effects or something.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I feel like most of the money went to the shots, the cinematography, the use of a helicopter and the explosions, whereas they still remained very clever, creative, and inspired on the special effects. But the special effects did not look like they came from a bloated budget. They looked like they came from being clever.
I love that you said that too, because Carpenter, both the cinematographer Dean Cunley, who he worked on Halloween, dude. He went on to work on Jurassic Park, Hook, Apollo 13. He did Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3, which is pretty awesome. So he started with Halloween and then he started shooting some of the biggest ones. But what he said was, when they got $20 million, which was a lot in 81 when they shot it, but they were still very much so an indie mindset. So they were still thinking, oh, we have this money, so we're just going to go blah, blah, blah. They still made this like a homemade picture. And you're right. They spent this on going to actual locations that were freezing in British Columbia, Alaska. They actually put the money to go do that and spend it. And they spent so much on rubber with Rob Boutein's special effects. I mean, this guy was 23 years old when he did the effects in this movie. Isn't that insane? And so, yeah. I mean, 23, and he did this. Like this is like a handmade, expensive movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, this is a movie that I guess we're going to get into it, but this is a movie that I find the word I almost want to say is flawless. And we were chatting about this before the pod, and you used the phrase perfect film. And I couldn't agree more. This does feel to me like a perfect film. And there aren't many things that come to mind for that.
If you think about it too, there's so many questions about this movie. Like, remember he's like, who put their dirty drawers in my kitchen? Or why didn't Norris and the other guy turn McGreedy into one of them when they went to go check out the alien spaceship? Why didn't this happen? What is it? When did Blair get turned? Who was the silhouette? How long was he alone? Why did all these people go where they go? But those questions, I don't think it's the horror type of like, who's in that room? Like, these guys didn't know what was going on until later on, which then it was too late. The questions that this movie raises, they're not questions that are haphazard, I believe. I just think they're questions that are good questions. There's a lot of questions about this movie, but they're good questions. They're not mistake questions.
Right. They're not questions like, well, how the hell did this happen? They're more questions of, well, we, the viewer, are not in every single room that exists in the movie at all times. And so we just don't know everything. And we're curious. And almost everything that anyone has ever questioned about this movie, I feel like I've got 100 answers, and they're all reasonable answers. Mm-hmm. But I don't know the answer.
Now, I have another question for you. So you're watching The Shining. I guess I'll just you watch The Shining, and Stanley Kubrick went out of his way to disorient people. He didn't want you to know the landscape. But then there's horror movies where they want you to know every aspect of the house. Remember Don't Breathe.
Like James Wan.
Yeah, James Wan, Conjuring, Insidious. Don't Breathe. Deep Blue Sea. Deep Blue Sea is great about letting you know the layout of everything. This movie, is it good? Is it to its detriment since it's all about paranoia that you don't? Because I didn't know the layout of this place at all.
So I feel like we learn the layout more as the movie progresses, but on an exponential scale. Because at the very end, we learned that it was basically one long hallway with just a bunch of rooms coming off of that hallway.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that until like the last 30 minutes of the movie, right?
Do you think that's good?
I never assumed that it was some huge compound, like there's only like 8 guys there. I never assumed it was huge. So is it to its detriment? Not necessarily. Does it offer a little mystique? Yes. Did it disorient me? Not really. Did I? But yeah, like if you're a new viewer, I can totally see where you don't understand where a lot of these things are. But again, yeah, the movie though, at the end in that third act, it really does give you a really good idea of the layout, because you see that it's basically one long hallway, and then you know that MacReady has a shack, and then they have that secondary shack where they had diabetes.
Wilford Brimley.
Wilford Brimley. Yeah.
You mean Blair,
where they had Blair, right? And so like there were you later learn that, but I don't think it mattered. I don't think it was to the detriment of the understanding of the viewer. I don't think it was to the detriment of the integrity of the film either.
Yeah, I guess it didn't hurt or help, I would say.
But honestly, I feel like we learned more about the layout of this compound than we ever properly do, even about the simple layout of the house in Halloween.
Yeah, you never learn that.
It's not that complicated, but we know by the end, we know more about the layout of this compound.
Also, I was reading online, people have no idea. So this alien supposedly landed at least 100,000 years ago, which seems like it's from Star Wars, maybe a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I mean, the technology from 100,000 years. But that alien either got jettisoned out or it crawled. But then some people are saying it's the pilot. Some people are saying it's a criminal that killed everyone on board. And who is this alien to you, John? Obviously, we don't know.
You mean like maybe the thing had overtaken the original occupants of that ship?
Yeah.
I never actually thought about that. And not that isn't interesting, but I don't care.
Yeah. I don't either.
I don't specifically. I never thought about that. I always assumed it was the thing's ship, but I can totally see how, there's no reason for me to believe that. It could have totally overtaken it. Maybe the occupants of that ship were hunting it down and they crash landed on Earth. And it was after they crash landed on Earth that it was almost like the end of this movie where they're hunting it down and it crawled out and then maybe they just froze to death. That's actually an interesting, I never heard anyone say this. So
yeah.
This is very intriguing to me.
I was reading through all this stuff and I'm like, I gotta stop. Like, this is just way too much.
Did you find this like on Reddit or some articles people wrote?
You know me, man. I just go deep. I deep dive into everything. So you're on Reddit. I'm on IMDb. I'm on every message board. Quora. Basically anywhere I could find articles, I kind of look into this film just as I have some free time. It's kind of nice since I'm I have 3 weeks off between semesters, which is good. But, and also, so the beginning of the film, there's a dog being chased by these Norwegians, no, I'm joking. These Norwegians, not Swedes, and they're terrible with grenades. I love errant grenades, by the way. And so these Norwegians fail at killing this dog. The dog enters this American research facility, and the dog does manage to assimilate one person through the night. Do you think this dog, or the creature, whatever it is, was annoyed when they brought back the other creature? Because that dog was living easy. It didn't have to rush anything in this situation, right? So when that other thing gets brought over from the Norwegian camp and infects Bennings, that kind of jig was up. It kind of, everyone realized something weird was going on. Do you think that dog was whatever was inside it was conscious of crap? They found that.
So there are a couple angles to this. The first angle is that they put the dog away for reasons that had nothing to do with that discovery.
Yeah.
And they put the dog away, and the dog immediately began infecting the other dogs. And remember when they found that? So that the movie would have hit the same crescendo just as soon anyway.
Why did the dog? So that dog got in there and started acting funky, and all the other dogs reacted. Did that dog have to start assimilating those other dogs? Because it was obviously risking being caught, and it died because of it.
Well, but just to back up though, again, like it didn't matter about the discovery from the original station.
Yeah. No, that's true.
That happened, and then that would have brought us to the same exact. Our protagonist would have been less knowledgeable about what was happening, but they would have known something really weird was happening, right? So, and then so this brings us to a question that I've always had about whatever this species is that we call the thing. And that is that, so you're saying, like, did it have to do that? It was risking discovery, this, that, and the other, right?
Yeah.
So if and it can, like, perfectly imitate people, right? It imitated, why can't I think, the guy who was balding with red hair and the beard.
Oh, Bennings.
So when it had Bennings, or no, he got grabbed. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think. Who's a good example? Windows.
Yeah.
Windows. When Windows was behaving totally normally before it was revealed that he was infected.
Oh, no.
Totally normal.
Windows got his head. I'm sorry. Windows is the one who got his head bit off by Norris. No. Norris had a heart attack.
Not Norris. Palmer.
By Palmer. Yeah, when Palmer goes crazy. Yeah, he killed Windows.
But, okay. But Palmer was someone who was behaving pretty normally, though.
Oh, yeah. And you know what's...
Okay.
Yeah. Palmer was... But in the beginning, go for it.
So he's infected though, and he's behaving totally normally. So it has the ability to behave totally normally, but we have to question biologically, is it doing this with a sentience, or is it doing it like a computer program? Do you know what I mean? Like, does this thing, which begins on a cellular level when it takes over other organisms, right? Is it aware of what it's doing? It might not really be aware of what it's doing. And then when certain opportunities present themselves, it behaves in a very animalistic way. And so, like, some people might argue, oh, yeah, the thing is acting like Palmer, and doing this, that, and the other. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's just keeping active all the things in the brain of that person to behave in normal ways. And then the chameleon strikes in the dark, if you will, when certain cues come up, and then the thing takes over.
Yeah, you just made me go cross-eyed. That's
if the thing was fully sentient all the time and well aware of its surroundings, in addition to being well aware of everything that its new host knew, it wouldn't behave in any of the ways we were seeing.
I think it was learning throughout. Would you say? So it learned.
It's already been on another world, and it's already been on a spacecraft, whether or not it had the knowledge to make it, or it took over organisms that knew how to make it. So it's been exposed to very advanced thought processes.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's not like species where it was just some bacterium or virus on Mars that suddenly was put in modern Earth. This thing has been exposed to modern thought processes, civilizations, and technology. And that's why I say I wonder if it's aware of what it's controlling or not. Or if I'm the thing and I take you over, do I just choose to let you continue to behave as you until I take control because I'm an animal? because there's someone alone with me.
So there's no answer to that, correct? Throughout as we learn this, but I guess we got to look at the blood, right? It knows enough to empty the blood. Would you say?
Right. No. Again, there are a lot of intelligent processes going on here, and so yeah, like to what level is it controlling things? But yeah, that was a very decisive thing, right? And putting together a spaceship when it was in Blair, that is a very decisive thought process. But like, to what degree is it? Is it really aware of what its host is doing? I don't know. This is where it gets really dodgy. Because again, if you assume that this thing knows everything that its host knows, makes its host look like a perfect replicate, but it still has its goals, it would never behave in any of the ways that we're seeing in this movie. There has to be some animalistic cues. Maybe it just can't control itself under certain circumstances.
That's why I love this movie. It just, the actors didn't even know. So Keith David was talking. He's like, I wasn't. And at the end, he's like, I didn't think I was. And the actors didn't even know. How do you know when you are assimilated? Wilford Brimley didn't care. He's like, I don't care less. I'm getting paid to do my movie. But yeah, John, sorry I can't be more help on this. I guess this
is exactly what I mean when I say, like, I've got 100 answers for most people's questions about this movie, but I don't think any of them are right.
Well, it could be this.
Or there is no right answer.
Someone's like, yeah, so here's a question, but here's 7 theories that people have. And you're like, geez Louise, 7 theories. And I mean, the problem is none of them are wrong, because we don't know what's right. So if that makes sense.
I have absolutely encountered theories, though, that I think are wrong, but I think it's more in the pathology of coming up with a theory, and not necessarily that they're wrong about questioning a certain observation in the movie, if you will, right? Because some people come up with a theory and they just craft it poorly. But it doesn't mean that the reason they crafted it wasn't the right reason.
You want to learn something that I thought was pretty awesome from listening to the commentary when I learned something about this movie? Now, that led me to a couple theories.
Who's it from? This
is from the cinematographer. So on a new commentary that he did, Dean Cundy, he's the cinematographer. And in the Scream Factory I don't get paid for this. I'm just promoting it because it's a great Blu-ray. In the commentary, when everyone's tied to the table and they're doing the blood test, take a look at Palmer's eyes. Now, you look in the other character's eyes and there's a glimmer, and they lit that purposely. But then when you look at Palmer, there's no glint in his eyes. They're kind of dead. And so the cinematographer goes, look at this. And then they show it, and then we look at it, and he goes, yeah, we kind of threw that little bit in there. Now, at the end, I like thinking that Keith David, or Childs, and McCready, I just like thinking that they're both human, because I don't like either of them being a shifty little parasite.
I truly believe they are both human,
I do
by
too.
the way.
But the problem is that could lead you down an endless, rabbit hole, wormhole, black hole, Courtney Love album, hole. I was like, that sounds weird, Courtney Love's Hole, but the band Hole. So, or the new Bourbon Rabbit Hole, it's pretty good. The Rye's okay as well. But at the end, maybe because it's the lighting, but you don't see a glimmer. You see a glimmer in Kurt Russell's eyes, but you don't see one in Child. And so he went away by himself looking for Blair, but but Blair was so busy dealing with the other 3. I don't think Blair would have had time to assimilate Childs. But since he told me that, and then I see the end, the guy doing the commentary, one guy was interviewing the cinematographer for it. He's like, well, there's no glimmer in Child's eye. And then the cinematographer backtracks and goes, well, we just wanted to be as ambiguous as possible. And look at where the light is in relation to him. He wouldn't have the breath. That's why you can't see his breath, but you can see Kurt Russell's because he's so close to the fire. So he's saying, he's like, we want to leave it ambiguous. But then the guy went, well, his eyes are dead. And then the cinematographer went, oh, crap. Like, no, he kind of backtracked a little bit. But that's like another theory I have. I never had that theory. But now I'm like, wait, his eyes don't have that glimmer. So then this means that.
Right. Well, and again, a lot of people use the breath as the reason they know Keith David wasn't the thing. But actually, if you watch it carefully, you absolutely see his breath. It's just that Kurt Russell has the fire behind him. Yeah. So it shows so much more clearly.
Yeah. And it's just, that's what I love about this movie, man. It's just, so, my dumb data. And I do my dumb data out of fun. I don't do it ever in jest. But there are moments where you're like, did Matthew McConaughey just float 30 feet? He floats in Angels in the Outfield too. Angel carries him in the outfield. He floats a lot in movies. But it's Once again, I said this before, but the questions in this movie are good questions. They're all fun questions. They're thought provoking. I don't know. I would take part in a Thing discussion, even though it's because I think Thing fans just love the movie. They don't want to prove. I've never heard someone on a soapbox saying they're right about a specific character. They just love the movie and like talking about it.
Yeah.
But the problem is, you and I could do that all day and we have no answer to any of it.
Oh yeah, no, and that's just it. It's like I could give like 20 proofs for why I think X in the movie, but then I could reverse it and give 20 proofs for Y, which is the opposite thing. Like you can Keith David, like this, that, and the other. Like Kurt Russell at one point says, if I was one of those, if I was the only one who wasn't the Thing, you guys would all jump me. But we don't know that about the Thing.
Do they know, since each speck of blood, because those two things get separated, right? The dog and the Thing at the Norwegian camp get separated, and then the Thing comes back and almost infects Bennings. So they're two separate entities infecting. So maybe. So you think maybe, because then all the bloodstream, the blood wants to survive when it's being attacked with the hot stuff. So that's another Jeez Louise question. But all right, how about this? This is a fact. Bennings.
But like, is this a hive mind or not? There's a big question.
Is this like in Deep Rising? How does that creature's tentacles know how to chase a? Never mind. But the Bennings thing Bennings with his lobster hands and weird scream.
That was a snow cone of fingers. That was crazy.
Isn't that just haunting? His look on his face and that scream? Like what?
Right.
So was it halfway assimilated, I guess? It just wasn't a complete assimilation, so it was a hybrid of the two?
Well, and who knows? We don't know we don't even know the most basic notion of the rules of this thing, other than the fact that some kind of contact develops some kind of cellular overtaking and imitation that makes you seem like yourself, and we don't know to what level of control that you or it has, or both, right? So there's so many layers of unknowns. Like if that thing had 10 more minutes or 60 more minutes with Bennings, would he just pass as Bennings? Maybe. Oh. And then the other question is would Bennings' mind still be active, or would it just be emulating it?
So I'm copying Ryan Levengood, your cousin, copying the movie Tommy Boy when I say, oh my God. Right. Bennings was killed, and they filmed the scene where he was killed earlier in the film with a screwdriver. He has a screwdriver death in the film. And then in the early first draft, do you want to hear something awesome, John?
Keep going.
Bennings.
I'm listening.
He wants to escape. So he gets on a snowmobile and is driving a snowmobile over the ice. Mandalorian style, I guess. That, the first scene with the ice monster. He's flooring a jet ski. The creature comes out of the water and stops him from leaving. So there's an underwater creature. Yeah, in the storyboards. So if you watch the Scream Factory Blu-ray and watch the cast and crew interview, they show you all the storyboards of Bennings getting killed by this thing swimming underwater, busting through the ice, grabbing him from the snowmobile. But obvious budget constraints. You can't really film that.
Well, there's a pretty big logic constraint there too.
Yeah, if the thing just wants to escape.
Because if it could swim that fast in frigid water, it could just hit civilization on its own in a few hours.
Just yeehaw! Yeah.
Well, maybe it gets cold. I don't know, but still, you know what I mean? Like that is a serious power there, and to break through the ice and the strength and the whatever, like that's a lot. There's a lot going on there. That's some comic book stuff.
I also think the thing wasn't helped. So two things screwed over the plan. This is what I think the plan could have been. The dog gets there.
We're ignoring the Bennings sidebar now.
Yeah, we're going back. Yeah. You know me, man. I'm a pinball machine with the person just slapping the handles, and I'm flying like a pinball over. But so, okay, the dog gets somebody. We don't know who it is. It's a silhouette. We know it's Kurt Russell's stunt double. That's the silhouette in the room, by the way, in case you didn't know that. So someone's already assimilated. Now, if it's a hive mind, that thing could take its time. However, they take the thing from the Norwegian area, that thing gets overzealous, right? And kills. If it's a hive mind, it's already done it. it could wait throughout the rest of the year and slowly get people, correct? That one guy. It wouldn't.
Sure, but even hive mind has a lot of different ways of expressing itself.
Because the thing had already won technically by becoming a man, by becoming Palmer. So
well, right, and it could have just stayed as Palmer indefinitely. And this is where I come back to what level of sentience does the thing actually have when it's assimilated and mimicking someone?
Now, I have another.
This is where I come back to if it was as smart as it comes off, it would never have done all the things that we saw in the movie.
So you don't. Maybe it was a prisoner and it just escaped, and it's just a pain in the ass. But also this is really random, but Gary, the boss. How good is actor Donald Moffat at? He has a very sensitive side to him, don't you think, Gary? You know, he obviously shoots the guy. He's very kind of stern, but he also has a very sensitive delivery that I like a lot in this movie. What do you think about Gary in this movie?
I agree with you, and I think that if for no other reason that was obvious to a viewer, but I agree there were several moments. I think that the way that he passes over power when people are concerned that he's the thing.
Yeah.
When he says, I think that, right, but I think that all of you would be more comfortable if someone else was in charge, and he sets down the gun, and he wasn't asked to do that. He was being threatened, yes, but he volunteered this notion. He wasn't told that first. He was very calm about it. I agree. That's an interesting character.
He was almost hurt. And another interesting thing, I don't know if you kind of noticed this throughout, but there's a couple of really interesting scenes between Big Man, Clark, who wasn't one, but he gets shot in the head. Clark, Big Man Clark, and Childs, Keith David. During the rehearsal process, when they had argument scenes, they were the biggest. So they were talking about this on the documentary. They're two of the biggest guys of the entire group, just physically. So
they're both like 6'2" and 6'4", right?
Yeah,
isn't Keith David like 6'2"-ish and that guy like 6'4"?
Yeah, big, like probably 200 plus each. You know, just the biggest physically imposing guys. And they kind of throughout the film, you see this sort of some weird looks, but I love that aspect of their characters. And they did that during the 2 months of rehearsals that they did before the movie. But I kind of love, or 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 weeks, probably two, whatever. But I love, you see little scenes. So when I like that Clark has a tiny little knife, even though he's like the biggest guy there. It's like a Far Side comic where the rhino's holding a knife. And
He's rather meek for a big guy in this movie.
Yeah, he's super nice dude. But I kind of liked the physicality between those two. And I only just learned about that by listening to the interviews, but it adds a whole new wrinkle. And also, I don't think I ever appreciated how good Knowles does. I hate that he disappears in the movie, but T.K. Carter, when he cuts loose MacReady because he finds his stuff, he finds like his jacket and everything, I love how cold acting he does. He obviously wasn't that cold because they were filming on, stages in California, but that dude knocked it out of the park during that scene. I loved it. I thought, I think Knowles is a lot better now in the later scenes. I liked him a lot in this film, more so than when I watched him, earlier in this. But I kind of liked that scene. I know this is weird, but he looked believably cold, which is a weird thing to say.
Well, yeah, it's even because he has to repeat himself. Like, no, man, I told you, I cut him loose. It's like he's in a panic and no one else in the room is in a panic.
Yeah.
But that panic was really partly the cold, right? No, I agree.
It's just, I think what I like about what Carpenter did, he got a bunch of serious New York actors. So the guy who plays Windows, his character wasn't even Windows. He just went to John Carpenter and just said, I've been thinking about this man and I'm going to wear these sunglasses and everyone's going to call me Windows. And people started making fun of him for it on set. They're like, what? You're being pretentious and taking it too seriously. But these were all a bunch of New York guys. So Keith David was teaching, at the time, he was teaching, stage monologues in a college atmosphere. So he hired all these really great actors to be in this A-list, serious kind of adult. When I say adult, I'm not saying like a XXX. I'm saying like just a mature horror film. And that's another smart thing. He didn't just get, you think about the later Friday the 13th movies. I know they're younger teenagers, but he hired actual serious actors, Wilford Brimley, for these roles. And I think that's another reason why it's aged so well, is even the supporting characters are good.
Everyone's good. Yeah.
I know I just went on a long monologue, but
everyone's good.
This is my biggest problem about prepping for this is I didn't want this to become you and I just fawning about this movie, but there's nothing to not fawn about in this movie. I love it.
I don't want to sound ageist, but I feel like most people who don't like this film, who fancy themselves knowledgeable about film, fall under the notion of I'm 26 and I just saw The Thing for the first time and here are my feelings.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying there aren't 26-year-olds who are very knowledgeable, but I feel like this is a movie. This isn't the highbrow horror movie like Get Out that is meant for you to watch it. And there's a lot, and Get Out is a very complicated movie, right? But Get Out is a movie that I feel like you can walk out of rich with deep thoughts. The Thing is one of those films where I feel like you get more out of it the second and third viewing than you did the first. With Get Out or Us, I think that, like most movies, you get diminishing returns. You got most of it in your first viewing. You get yet less your second viewing, yet less your third viewing. The Thing, I feel like I just keep getting more. That's unusual. And so, again, I'm not trying to be ageist. This is more just how many films have you seen and how many times have you seen them? The Thing is one of those things that you really got to live with for a while. And it doesn't explain much for you, right? Even highbrow horror, they leave a lot of mystery, but they still explain a lot of things deeply. This movie explains Jack.
Yeah, you got to watch it.
The explanation is in the character dynamics.
Yeah.
So again, it's that, and then I think the other people who don't like it are people who aren't that into horror, or who haven't seen much horror, or who haven't seen enough horror to appreciate older horror. Because art history is like film history. You usually don't appreciate the older, basic, unsleek stuff when you don't see it much. So again, it's a delicate thing. But I do think that The Thing is an older horror movie that younger people can appreciate early in their film appreciation stages, because there's so many good shots compared to other films in the early 80s. Like this film, these have shots that rival most films in general of its time.
I mean, this is, if you count inflation, this was about a $60 million horror film. So the cinematography, like they had time to get the good shots. And that's a problem a lot of horror movies don't have. So I think that's another reason why it holds up too. I mean, it's just so well done. And this is random. I know I'm cutting you off, but I have learned that I've really started to appreciate the wardrobe in Jordan Peele's horror movies, because in Get Out, in the beginning, they're wearing like matching chambray stuff. And then she starts going away from him and puts some red in her outfit to signify villainy. And at the end, she's wearing the crisp, clean kind of cult.
Sanitized. Yeah.
Which is a really cool transition in characters. And then in Us, I just read an article from the New York Times that breaks down the shirts in the movie and how they relate to the characters. So I never knew that, but I just want to get that out there.
Yeah, I mean, well, Jordan Peele, though, he's like a tactician in execution, whereas John Carpenter is a tactician in staging. And they're two different things, right? And it's not to say that they both aren't good at both, but one of them really excels at one and the other really excelled at...
The paranoia is second to none in this film. I do think he's less about the characters in this movie and more about the mood and the paranoia, would you say? Because there's no real development from the character. There's no time. You don't need full development because there's no time for that. But this is more about the mood and the paranoia, correct?
Right. I mean, we're operating on what? Basically a 36-hour timeline, I think. And you're right. It's like the development, and the only developments really are is like person A no longer trusts persons C or F.
Is he making oatmeal?
But no, you're right. It doesn't need character development. Instead, all we get are character revelations. We just reveal more about characters, right? But and then we find that, Kurt Russell is introduced to us as some guy who's impatient with Chess Wizard and literally destroys his whole machine because he's pissed off that he lost. And you think, gosh, he's probably hardly better than a mechanic or, the helicopter pilot here. But it's one of those things in any movie or any real situation is when the pressure starts to mount, we find leaders where we don't always expect them. And so it's just as things happen, his people's roles become revealed.
And he doesn't really want to be the leader.
No.
Which I like a lot. And you're right. I think you're right. This movie does a good job of giving us it shows us and it doesn't tell us slight character motivations and who they are. I kind of like that about, like, just there's smaller, like, I like the scene with Keith David and Benny Palmer. They're sharing, he's sharing his weed with them, which I really
dig.
That
big fat doobie.
Yeah, and
that was a big fat doobie.
watching the VHS tapes that they see, then you see the dynamics of who's playing pool together, who's playing poker together, because it was the older guys playing poker together, and then in the back it was Knowles and Clark playing pool. They have kind of
and then even like a disgruntled stepdad, Bennings is like, damn it, Clark, can you get this dog out of here? And that's when they took the dog to the thing, just because it brushed by his leg.
What was Child's job in this?
I have no idea.
Because, all right, Windows is the radio guy, right?
Right.
Fuchs works with Copper, who gets his arms bit off. Oh my, we haven't even talked about the CPR scene. So they're both kind of the doctors. And then we have McCready, he's a pilot. Then you have Blair, who is, the scientist with a great computer system. Which doesn't, people are complaining about that, but I'm like, this is also a movie with an alien from 100,000 years ago in a spapeship. Get over yourself. And then every
sci-fi movie of any era has technology that exceeds reality.
We're past a lot of the sci-fi movies now, right? Palmer was a mechanic. Copper was a doctor. Norris was, what was Norris? He's the one that had the heart attack and then his chest explodes.
Yeah, I don't know what Norris was.
We could wiki it and find out, but I'm just talking about from the movie if you watch it.
Right, Knowles was like the cook.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. See, I love this. I don't know. I like the there was a lot more downtime in this film, but they had to cut a lot of it because they wanted to get started. Because if you think about it, this movie doesn't really kick off until the dogs, right? As far as violence is concerned and horror.
The helicopter in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, that's just such I guess monster mayhem. Hey, I'm going to go watch this monster movie. And so that doesn't really kick off until the dog.
Right.
Yeah, and that's probably, 40 minutes into the movie?
Maybe. Maybe it's hard to say. I'm a little disoriented in thinking about that because I was reflecting on both of my watches in the past week that this movie, I swear, has no slow parts.
No, not at all. It's a lean, paranoia machine.
But it's not short. Back in 1982, an hour and 48 minutes for a horror or sci-fi movie is long.
Yeah.
And so and yet there's, and I'm not saying there are no uninteresting times, and there is not, but it's not just that, there's no slow parts. There's one of my biggest criticisms of Halloween is how half the scenes feel like they could have been cut by 5 seconds. A lot of 30-second scenes felt like they could have been 20 or 25-second scenes. The camera lingers on things. I get there's a little mood involved, but it feels a little long. And a lot of older films did that. Whereas nowadays things are edited more concisely to get you to the next scene. This movie had none of that.
No. And I mean, it's probably him learning as a director too. I mean, because he had Assault on Precinct 13, Halloween.
That was 74, wasn't it?
And then he had Halloween, and then he went on to make Fog and Escape from New York in between
78,
those two.
80, and 81.
Yeah. So then he worked on The Thing. So he's probably learning as a filmmaker to...
But I'm saying most filmmakers at that time who were even more experienced than him were still lingering too long on scenes. He was really on point for this movie as a filmmaker, regardless of experience.
Yeah, there's nothing that lingers too long in this. This is a tight 150, I would say.
I couldn't cut 60 seconds from this movie.
I wouldn't want you to. I'd be so mad at you. You cost me a minute of the thing?
Right.
Why? All right, so how about this? Hey, let's take a quick break, and we come back. We'll talk more The Thing 1982. How's that sound?
Done.
All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And John, I'm going to do something tough to you here, man, but I think I have to do this to you, okay?
All right.
All right. Rank John Carpenter's Apocalypse or End of the World trilogy. In the Mouth of Madness, Prince of Darkness, and The Thing.
Easy.
Oh, dang it.
The Thing, in the Mouth of Madness, and Prince of Darkness.
Oh, man. I like it when you short circuit. This one was too easy.
Easy. Now, hold on. Now, this is based on how much I love the movies. If I'm going on concept, though, I'd probably go In the Mouth of Madness, and then I'd be conflicted about what to do between The Thing and Prince of Darkness. But just based on how much I love the movies and how great I think the movies are, it's The Thing in the Mouth of Madness, Prince of Darkness.
Now, in the Mouth of Madness, that's more Lovecraftian, correct?
Yeah, despite never acknowledging that like anywhere in or adjacent to or outside of the movie, it's incredibly Lovecraftian. Yeah.
Now, since you put Prince of Darkness last, that's not because you dislike it. It's just because you love the other two.
Correct. Now, and I've come to, Prince of Darkness is another movie I've come to like more and more and more with every single viewing. That's another weird one out there because I used to not think much of it because I thought the special effects were hokey and weak, and I still kind of think that, by the way. But the set design, the acting, the concepts, the writing, despite all vastly eclipsing the effects, are now what I care about. Whereas when I was younger, all I cared about were the special effects. So that's an interesting yo-yoing gradually in my perception of that movie. But now I think the movie's a fantastic film, whereas before I thought, it's an alright flick.
Got it. Oh man, that was you answered those too quick.
We should probably be podcasting about all these movies.
No, I would love to finish this trilogy. And also Sam Neill, between this, Event Horizon, Jurassic Park, he's had a pretty good.
God, what a great time frame that was, man.
And I just watched, so I was waiting for my students to show up the other day because I teach an early class, and I watched, Serpent and
Rainbow?
Yeah, the Wes Craven picture with Bill Pullman.
Lair of the White Worm or Serpent and the Rainbow?
Serpent and the Rainbow, yeah.
Lair of the White Worm is Hugh Grant, right?
I don't know. I just watched.
Yeah, Lair of the White Worm is Hugh Grant. Serpent and the Rainbow is Bill Pullman.
I enjoyed it. I thought it had some. It was interesting to watch. It was on Shudder, so I checked that out. Now I want to do something. This one might throw you for a loop. On every Movie Films and Flicks podcast recently, we've been doing drafts, and I pick a really random draft, and we end up drafting 5 movies from each actor or monster, whatever it is, and then we put it up on Movies Films and Flicks Facebook, and we have our followers vote on it. So John, I want to do a Keith David movie draft with you.
How many movies?
5.
That's too many movies.
And you could pick TV shows.
And we can't overlap, right?
Nope. Once one's off the board, it's off the board.
And you want to do that right? Are we doing that now?
Yeah, we're doing that right now.
Oh, so crap, I hate you.
Pick a number between 1 and 2. I got him up right now. Pick 1 or 2.
2.
All right, you get first pick. So
They Live.
Oh, They Live. Okay. I'll do The Thing.
Requiem for a Dream.
Oh my gosh. That's a hardcore one right there. All right. I'm going to pull up IMDb real quick.
Dude, I'm doing the same thing.
And I'm going to look at his.
Badly.
He has so many good movies. Oh my gosh, he's in that one. Oh, all right. So, oh man. I got to do this because I think it's one of the funniest cameos. There's something about Mary when he's like, how'd you get the beans above the Frank?
Oh, that's a great role. No, that's a good one. Shit.
He has 315 roles.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of them are small.
Yeah, I had to do this. I had to throw you for a quick loop here.
I am having a tough time because I'm looking right now, and a lot of the movies I recognize, but I can't remember his role in these movies necessarily, so I don't want to pick them.
Remember him in the Scott Adkin movies, Savage Dog?
No, I haven't seen that though.
Scott Adkins hacks off heads with a machete. You got to see it.
No, I haven't seen that. I am. Hollywood Homicide.
Hey, there we go. All right, I'm gonna do Cloud Atlas.
I've actually never sat down and seen that all the way through.
I just read the book, and Adam Clement and I are gonna cover it on the podcast. All right, so you're up next.
Gosh, I'm having a hell of a time here, man.
I know what my next one is.
I'm not happy with you right now. I'm just gonna say that out loud. It's I am. Wait, was he in? I think that was he in this movie? Article. Yes, Article 99.
Article 99. All right.
Remember that one? In the hospital? Dude, it had John C. McGinley in it, and Kiefer Sutherland and Ray Liotta.
What?
And oh gosh, was that Forrest? I think of Forrest Whitaker. I'm just getting into it now. Forrest Whitaker, John Mahoney was in it.
What?
Leah Thompson was in it. Eli Wallach was in it.
That's a great cast.
Dude, doctors in a VA are dealing with just a bad situation. So they it's almost like they pull a code red in terms of dealing with their managerial rules and regulations in the hospital.
Interesting.
It's a cool movie. It's from like the 90s. It's like Flatliners era for like Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh man, he's been in so many good movies. He was in that movie?
Yep. So many people in the movie.
Whoa. He had a role in The Replacements? What was that?
Right. I saw that and I didn't remember him in that. That's why I can't obviously pick that. I don't know the role.
All right, this one's really tough for me. It's 2 animated movies. But I'm going to pick this animated movie because he plays a cat. I'm going Coraline. I love cats. So that's why I'm doing that one.
I'm going Platoon.
Yo, that was my next one. Oh, man. Oh, dude. Oh, man. So he was in Dead Presidents.
I don't remember him from that. That's my problem is I don't remember. I haven't seen that movie, though, since it was damn near new.
He's in Reality Bites? He's in Roadhouse?
I don't remember him from any. For all I know, he's an extra.
All right, I'm doing it. I'm going to do both. I'm going to do Princess and the Frog. Because I love that alligator in that movie, and I like his character, and that's a fun movie. So you have They Live, Requiem for a Dream, Hollywood Homicide, Article 99, Platoon. I have The Thing, There's Something About Mary, Cloud Atlas, Coraline, and Princess and the Frog. I've wanted to add Enlisted, because I loved him in that show, but no one knows what that is.
I remember that show.
It's cute.
I remember that show. That's from a while back, yeah.
You feeling okay, John? You feeling you're not gonna short circuit? You're feeling good?
I mean, yeah, it's just like this was not a confident, set of choices for me. Like the first couple choices are easy, but after that, like this turned into like a hasty research exercise.
Oh, you know what? You know what we haven't done yet? We haven't answered any questions. We should probably.
No, we have several.
Yeah. So do you want to get into that real quick?
Sure.
All right. So you had a breakdown for how you want to do this. Did you want to start with Catherine, Rob, Johnny, or Tom?
Well, you know what? We've actually talked a lot about the movie, so I think we can do any of them in any order at this point. I think we're pretty safe.
All right. Let's start with Tom Tresmer. If the thing actually had a name, what would it be? So 100,000 years ago, it was named, correct? At least. Who knows how old it is? It could be 1,000,000 years old and just keep replicating. What do you think its name is? You're a bounty hunter, John. And you're Mando, you're Mandalorian, and you got to go catch this.
Well, okay, so I don't like it. Doesn't have a name like Frank Williams.
That was my answer.
I think it has a name like Mandalorian is a name. Like it's a name for a category of things. So I think that if I'm the Mandalorian charged to find it, and Werner Herzog is hiring me, he's going to say like, you need to find the doppelganger.
The copia.
Right. Like it's going to be called like the doppelganger or something like that. But honestly, this thing, and I'm going to call it a quasi hive mind because I don't think it automatically knows like a computer server what all the other ones know. But I think when it splits off, it knows what it previously knew before it split off, like a blood sample. So like I don't think it has a name.
It's not a Demigorgon?
I don't think it would identify in such a way because one thing can later splinter off into innumerable things.
The pain in the ass?
Like, or maybe it just, like it calls itself Legion or it just refers to itself as us.
Ooh. All right. I'm going to name it Chuck Mad Dog Finley.
Appropriately so.
What do you think? Chuck Mad Dog Finley is the name of it?
Finley? Sure, that sounds like a good name. I think it's right up there with 8 pound, 6 ounce, bouncing beautiful baby Jesus.
Or Baby Yoda.
That's right.
All right. Now, Johnny Numb. Did The Thing need a prequel, also named The Thing? No.
Nope.
I mean, we know what happened to the Norwegians.
Sort of. Yeah, it's like we don't necessarily know the line of events that took them there, but we know. Right.
They're dead, and we know how it ends. You know what, dude? John, 100,000 years ago, you're John, the bounty hunter, Levingood, and you're hunting down Chuck Mad Dog Finley. It's like pitch black, but you're hunting that thing down. And it takes control of the ship, and you're like, we're going up on a planet. Oh, well, we can't crash land it on a normal area, so you crash land it in an Arctic basin. Who knows how much more ice there was 100,000 years ago. But you crash land it because you're like, I gotta save the world. And that's a better prequel. It's like Alien. Basically, it's just Alien with you as John. What was your name? The bounty hunter Levingood. Crashed in a plane to save humanity.
Well, I mean, it would be a lot more appropriate than a damn near scene-by-scene remake that we just say happened a little earlier.
Yeah. So, I guess that's better than just saying no, correct? To the prequel.
Correct, yeah. But my first answer was also no.
I kind of wanted to... So you and I, we're very rarely pithy, would you say, John? We have sassy stuff to say, but we're very rarely hater. And my first reaction was exactly... We had the same first reaction. No.
No.
Jesus. I mean, I'd rather see a remake than a prequel.
Which our prequel basically was.
Yeah. It should have just been a remake. Because it's doubly pointless. Oh, wait, this isn't a remake? Oh, so we already know what's happening. Because then a remake could go in a different direction, correct?
Even after people saw it, they thought it was a remake. Because it had a blood test scene for goddamn sake. Like, yep. It had all the same shit.
John, do you have any fillings inside your mouth?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then how do I know you're you?
Right. And how do you know? How is the thing making teeth? That's a different question altogether. Yeah. Like it's forming when it had like that malformed, ill yet formed like dog, and it had like all those like Venom like comic book teeth. I'm like, if all those, because all those teeth, right, they look like Venom in the comic books. All these long, like innumerable teeth, right? So, but if it was on its way to forming it, you can't reshape a tooth. A tooth is not a biologic. So it made them, and then it just has to dump away all that calcium and start over. Like, why would it have made the teeth in the first place?
Whoa. Yeah. So we don't need a prequel.
Don't need a prequel.
We need John Bounty Hunter Levingood hunting down Chuck Mad Dog Finley.
I'll just be saying must kill Kreitz.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Where's
like in Critters.
Where's Finley at?
Right.
Oh, you're one of the bounty hunters from Critters.
Right. Oh, remember your old statement about Adrian Brody from Predators? Because you weren't very fond of his character. Like, I don't know where these predators are at.
Where are they?
When he was using his deep voice all the time.
Where are they? John, I just want you, 100,000 years ago, you, just smoking 3 cigarettes at a time, walking around the spaceship going, where's Finley?
Sounds like it was made in the 90s.
Yep. And you have huge hair.
Real big hair.
Just big. We're talking like American Gladiators, the first go-around hair.
The Bold and the Beautiful, 1990.
Just rocking it. All right. So now we'll move on to Catherine Dilks. And she asks, who, if anyone, do you think was human at the end of the film and why?
This is a biggie. This is the big one.
Okay. John, you and I, we meet a genie. And this genie goes, guys, I'll let you know. I'm going to tell you right now who was human at the end of the thing, right? And you have to guess. And if you're wrong, I'm going to make you hang out with, I don't know. I'm going to make you start a Foghat cover band. I don't know, something terrible.
You would love that.
Yeah, I know, that'd be the best ever. I would get it wrong on purpose. I would make you hang out with John Bounty Hunter Levingood, and you're sitting to the side smoking 3 cigarettes, talking in a raspy voice. How's that sound?
Sounds horrible.
All right. So you have to say who, all bias aside, based on all the evidence, who is human? Do you think between Childs and McGreedy, Mac, who's human and who's an alien?
I think they're both human.
Now, okay, I do too. But I would have to say Childs, even though it's an obvious misdirect that he went somewhere else, but I didn't see a glimmer in his eyes. And if that's what the cinematographer was saying, I think they're not doing it. But I'm just going to throw that out there to be a contrarian and say that it's Kurt Russell human And Childs is one of them because he doesn't have a twinkle in his eye.
See, like, but if Childs was the thing, and it's down to Childs and McCready, why walk up and announce yourself to McCready?
Well, maybe he doesn't know if McCready's been changed yet. Maybe he just likes Kurt Russell.
He's like, we can be friends.
It's a lonely life being, Chuck Mad Dog Finley.
So yeah, I mean, I'm sticking to my guns here. I think both are human, and the arguments that I've heard are just the arguments from movie fans, not from the movie makers, right? But people say like, oh yeah, but Kurt Russell hands him that bottle, and then Keith David sips it, but oh, he was making Molotov cocktails earlier. However, I don't think that was a Molotov cocktail.
No, that was whiskey. He knew he was dying. And he wanted to enjoy himself.
Well, and he almost took a swig of it right before he was surprised by Keith David's announcement of his presence. And when we last saw the Molotov cocktails, it was before the dynamite went off, and he dive rolled away from it. Remember when the creature came out and got the dynamite and everything? The creature exploded out of the ground where they were, and then he dive rolled. He didn't have a bag or anything on him or a knapsack, so he left them. And and then when he thought he was alone, he was going to take a swig, and then he stopped because he heard Keith David. A lot of people were saying, oh yeah, that must be the thing because that would have been kerosene. And I'm like, yeah, that argument only makes sense if you haven't seen the movie in a year.
Mm-hmm.
In my head, right? To me, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense to presume that was a Molotov cocktail. Maybe that's the way I should present this. And the same thing with the breath. We talked about the breath earlier. You actually do see Keith David's breath, just not as consistently. There could be a lot of reasons. The glimmer in the eye. I don't. This is like what is it? This is an Ebert thing, and that was that filmmakers don't get to tell you after the fact what they meant.
Yeah.
Whatever's in the film, it doesn't matter. They don't get to say, oh, well, we did this and we didn't do this for that. No, you put it on the screen and it's like art. It's there for people to see or not see or to interpret how they want. So I really don't give a damn what the filmmakers say.
No.
It's cool to hear it, but in terms of elucidating how things are in the film, I don't think that should be a part of any evidence.
No, Carpenter hasn't said that. It was just the cinematographer.
Right,
and he was
one of the filmmakers.
And he was only referring to it as he was only talking about Palmer. He wasn't at the end. He said he wanted it to remain ambiguous towards the end about them. So he was backtracking on that. So he never said he said the ending was supposed to be ambiguous. He just pointed at the one scene with Palmer. So he wasn't exactly saying it. I'm just inferring like a brat movie fan. You said something. Now I'm going to go with it,
No, but I mean, but it doesn't matter what the filmmakers say. I think that nothing that any filmmaker says should be introduced to an argument like this.
It's like J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter. She's just telling everybody everything.
Right. They can tell you what they meant, but if they're a crappy filmmaker, then maybe no one sees what they claim to be true.
Yeah.
It's either there for the masses to see or it's not. So, but yeah, I really think they're both human. But that's a good point. Yeah, maybe if Keith David was infected, he doesn't know whether or not Kurt Russell is infected, whether it's a hive mind or not. How does this hive mind work? It's not like, again, it's a computer network where all things are automatically updating all the time. It's not like they're psychic. That's a good point. Maybe that's a part of if he was infected, and Kurt Russell says, maybe we just sit here a while and see what happens. Then maybe that's why he's willing to. He doesn't know who or what he's talking to. But I'm still going to round back to, I feel that I don't have any reason to believe that either of them are infected.
Love it. We still haven't talked about the giant monster at the end that 50 people were controlling underneath the stage. We haven't talked about the CPR scene or the blood test. It's crazy. All right.
Everyone else talks about that.
Yeah, you're right.
But they're all great scenes.
Yeah. Let's cover other things. I like that. Want to get to Rob's insane questions, Robert Lamb?
When the thing does explode out, and it gets it pulls down the dynamite detonator thing, right?
Yeah.
The way that popped out and that sound that it made, that kind of locust sound and its tentacles, I feel like was aped by the gate when the demon prince came out of the kid's foyer floor in the gate at the end. Steven Dorff movie when he was a kid. But the way that it came out, its tentacles, the way it behaved, Actually, Steven Dorff killed that thing with explosives too, right there in that scene. Just amusingly enough, there were a lot of scenes where you're watching this movie and you can kind of see the trickle down influence in subsequent like special effects scenes in other movies. And I always think that's cool when you see that.
Do you think Ernest P. Worrell, based on how strong he is, could defeat Chuck Mad Dog Finley?
Okay, so you're referring specifically to the strength that he exhibited in Ernest Scared Stupid when he was wrestling.
Also,
trained toward the troll.
He can also be electrocuted, right? And fly. And he got electrocuted. He can survive electrocutions. He's fulfilled.
He just might not be as conductive.
He fulfilled an ancient prophecy. And Ernest goes to. He can fly a sleigh with reindeer. And he is so strong that he can pick up. He can, do a lateral. Or no, it's not lateral. What kind of shoulder? He's holding that troll up in the air. His arms are straight out holding this troll that can literally pull a truck, and he's not struggling. So Ernest battles Chuck Mad Dog Finley. Who wins?
I'm gonna go with the Thing.
You think the Thing could assimilate Ernest?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
I think so.
I think Ernest would win.
But I don't think as highly of Ernest as you do.
Yeah, you're right. All right, so Robert Lamb asks, why did they split up at the end? So he's referring to Knowles, Gary, and Childs, and Mac. Now, Knowles, Gary, and Mac are spreading explosives in the cave. And they're in a rush, correct? They are in a hurry because they know it's soon going to be so cold that they're just going to die.
Right, because the Thing knocked out the power. Yeah. That's key. The Thing knocked out the power, so if they didn't rush, eventually they're all just going to freeze to death.
They had 6 hours, right, to do that. So they're in a hurry. There's a lot of territory to cover, but since you know all three of you are fine, wouldn't it be better for you to stay together?
Well, again, I think there's the urgency of the fact that you also know that one or two things are infected and are doing something somewhere. And the more time that you give it or them, the more time they might be able to work against you. You know that there's a spaceship being built. You know that there's one or two people infected wandering around.
When was Blair infected? Because the amount of work he put in on that spaceship is not a couple hours. It's not 3 hours. It's not 4 hours.
I think the whole time that he was in that shack, he was infected.
Do you think the night before they could have started building it and they moved him to that shack? So who infected him?
Well, it was McCready's idea to put him in that shack.
Yeah. So, but who infected him? Because at the time there were no, yeah. So as soon as he I think he destroyed those radios as a ploy. Because if they'd got a message out, hey, we are being attacked, there is something terrible, do not remove them, he could have isolated them to be like, oh, we can't let this thing get out. And then he enacted his plan. Do you think he could have been like that the whole time?
Yes.
Yeah. Because there's no way that spaceship gets built. Just logistic, right?
And don't get me wrong, like, this is my opinion has gradually moved in this direction over many, many viewings. And it's really just watching it twice in the last week that's really solidified this for me. Because before, I thought he was going crazy, and then I thought he was just paranoid. And then later, oh, right, he's infected. And I never really thought back to when he got infected. But he did all that destructive stuff, and then they put him in isolation. And an isolation underneath that is where he had that ship. So I honestly, now that I think about it, I think that he was infected that whole time. The whole time.
Because I'm just saying logistically, right? This isn't, I don't even think this, I would love to know how many, because he had to find scrap. He had to, I would assume, solder everything together, correct? He would have to.
Something, yeah, right?
Like he would need to create a lot of heat. That spaceship had a frame that he molded.
There was more than a couple dozen man hours into that.
Yeah. And so the only people that could have, the dog didn't work on it. The only person that could have worked on it was the silhouette who was turned. Maybe potentially
Which could
Palmer.
have been him in the beginning.
Yeah. Which could have been him. Palmer, right? Could have been working on it the night before. But I do love that scene though when he opens up the thing and there's a noose. sitting next to Wolford.
Right.
And he's like, I'm fine. I want to come back with you guys.
I don't want to be out here anymore.
I love that.
I'm ready to come back inside.
He's probably calling his bluff, right?
Right. But, well, you know what? It probably wasn't him that was infected first, though, now that I think about it, because after that, right, when you see the dog silhouette approach the human silhouette, it's after that Wilford Brimley is explaining everything that he thinks about this creature and writing in his journal. So he wouldn't have been the first one infected, but maybe the second one infected.
I gotta do this math. I gotta do it. I don't know. I get like angry Thing fans, but whatever. All right, second question from Robert. They were so good about sticking together until they had to plant the dynamite. Which is true. Also, why did Childs run after Blair into the storm? Now remember, there's a line where they don't want Childs to be the leader because of his temper. And his kind of... He reacts strongly. So Childs saw Blair and was like, I'm going to get him. Like, that's just the way he's impulsive, would you say?
I'm not disagreeing with that, but Childs is kind of keeping a watch, and these other guys are all doing their own thing. If he sees Blair going somewhere, for all he knows, Blair is going towards his friends.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what Blair is doing, but when you see the fucking thing,
No, we get one.
PG-13ing there. When you see that damn thing, and you for sure see it, you don't just let it go. This is a dangerous time.
Yep.
So, like, he could go get the jump on a couple people. So I think it makes sense that you don't just, let Blair go do what he's doing. But once again, it's like we arouse 100 questions. There's not really a right answer in here, though.
Was he infected then? I mean, technically yes, but also technically no.
Well, we already knew that ship was under there.
Yeah.
And we're strongly... Well, we know that Blair did it because then he did the thing to Noel's face or whatever.
It's so weird.
Right. So we knew he was infected in hindsight. So, yeah, he's infected. He did that crap.
Next, the last one that I love here. Why did they name the prequel The Thing as well, rather than giving it a cool sub? So Annabelle Creation, right? Annabelle Comes Home. So you have the kind of the beginning, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, rather than giving a cool subtitle like The Thing, Rise of the Thing, The Thing, The Norwegian Days, The Thing, Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, The Thing, Rise of Chuck Mad Dog Finley. Why was it The Thing?
I think that they were relying on ambiguity in the marketing.
It's so weird, isn't it?
Because if you go out of your way to advertise, so a lot of horror fans know The Thing is a movie, and even if they never saw it, like a young horror fan, right? They know The Thing is a big movie, even if they never saw it. So if you make a movie and you advertise it really strongly as a prequel to The Thing, and you haven't seen The Thing, you might decide not to go see it.
I have a beautiful title for this movie, John. You ready for it?
Oh dear.
The Thing, Norway Out.
Oh my God, you just Van Damned it. Norway to Run.
What do you think?
I like it better than calling it the exact same title, but saying it's a prequel.
It should have been titled The Thing, Norway to Run.
Norway to Run.
Wait, you could put the R in parentheses.
Right.
Oh my
Still
gosh.
Terrible.
Oh man.
But no, this was heavily contested when it was coming out in the first place too. Like people on Reddit were having a field day bitching about it. Like why not call it this? Why are they calling it this? And then of course once it came out again, it was minus a couple scenes. It was basically a scene for scene remake with a couple scenes reinforcing it as the obvious prequel story. Right, but I think that this just got, I don't know if this is, studio involvement or a clever marketing ploy, but I think this is a marketing thing. I think that you don't release The Thing Part 2 40 years later if you're worried that people who didn't see The Thing won't see it.
Yeah.
I think you just call it The Thing.
Norway Out.
Norway Out. Right. Jeez, it's so terrible.
All right, now, what happens if they don't take the burnt up thing from the Norwegian place back? That means Bennings doesn't get infected, right? So that means the only thing
the dog was there.
But see, the thing is they contained that dog, right? Because they put the dog turned one other person. So that means there's one person who's been assimilated and then they burn up the dog. So that means there's one.
It was later revealed that even the burnt up remains still had active cellular activity.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I guess they could have fried. Let's say they fry the dog completely, right?
They char that, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna make coal out of it.
Let's just assume nothing left. All right, just glop. That's not cellular, nothing alive from the dog. But you still have one person there. So that thing would not want to. That'd be better for it then, wouldn't it?
Maybe.
Did you put your hands up in the air and go what?
Right. No, I kind of have my hand on my cheek like I'm trying to solve a math problem I don't fully understand.
All right, next question. What was the dog thinking when it was watching them bring in the other charred remains?
I don't know if it was thinking any. This comes back to what really is the cognizant level of the thing in general and or in particular hosts. Like, I don't really know if it processes that, if it realizes that that is a piece of or a conspecific of it.
Yeah.
Like, it might not have been thinking of that as anything different than them walking in with a knapsack. I don't know.
Whoa. Do you think that could have been a Predator spaceship taking that creature to hunt in its Antarctic? Oh, no, this is way up north, but in an underground temple somewhere in the cold temperatures.
Could be.
What do you think?
Could be, totally. I mean, the AVP thing was in Antarctica, wasn't it?
Yeah. What?
Well.
Oh, yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, why not?
You like that?
And Predator opens up with a very similar first scene as the thing.
And they get taken over. The aliens kind of take over, and they kill them all.
The ship rolling in, yeah.
And they blow it all up. Thought?
I like it. I also, I gotta tell you, when the thing started too, that opening scene with the spaceship.
Yeah.
I love those opening scenes. We see that in Predator. We see that in Night of the Creeps. We see that in Critters. That was a readily revisited scene after this movie. And I love those scenes. It's just, it gives it that more credulous sci-fi flavor to the horror execution. They're fun movies.
Has the dog scene ever gotten easier to watch?
What do you mean easier?
Every time I watch it, I want to fast forward it.
You mean when the dog first gets let into the kennel with the other dogs?
Yeah, and then that one dog's getting stabbed in the throat and it gets shot, and then the other dog's been melted by the Twinkie goo. They use the inside of Twinkie goo to spray the dogs with the Humane Society there. Just the the dogs, the panic of them, just and then Clark's face yelling no when his dogs get shot. That's never been easy for me to watch.
You know what's interesting? So I usually, I'm like most people with a soul. I really hate seeing animals die in movies, but for some reason I've never felt that while watching The Thing.
Oh man, I can't do it. It hurts my soul every time.
I don't know, but the thing is that in The Thing, it is a special effects creature exacting these activities. It's not like a movie where a serial killer stomps on a dog or stabs a dog and it feels, more credible, if you will.
Yeah.
So I've never made that. It's funny that you mentioned that because I'm only realizing now that I've never made that connection. Whereas normally I hate those scenes and I wince at those scenes. And in this, I never have. To this, it never connected to me as, that poor animal, as it does in most movies. So but again, I guess for me it's so easily removed because you have this fantastical creature doing these fantastical things.
2 more questions for you.
Okay.
Thoughts about this, right? The Thing, Way Out.
Okay.
What do you think? I'm hoping you'll change your mind. All right. Now,
I'll buy the Blu-ray.
Who did it better? The Faculty or The Thing?
The Thing.
Yeah. I mean, I like the drug scene in Faculty. It's fun, and it's such a ripoff that you can't. It's like a Stranger Things. It's not a ripoff. You know exactly. They're not stealing. They're basically, I love The Thing, and we're gonna add this scene, right?
Well, yeah, but I'd say that The Faculty is more closely replicating the movie Class of 1999 than it is The Thing.
Wait, Class of '99?
Yeah.
Is when did that come out?
Like before 1999.
Oh, okay. Because the Thing.
The Class of 99 came out in like 1990.
Oh, okay. Then they did that scene in Class of 99.
Well, no, but I'm saying the movie The Faculty is like, I never thought of The Faculty as a play on The Thing. I always thought of The Faculty as a play on Class of 1999.
I'm talking about the drug scene where they're huffing the jingle jangle.
Oh,
whatever
just
it
the
is.
test scene. Just the test scene. I got you.
I wasn't specific.
Sure. That, yes, I agree. That was a clear play.
I love that. That was a popular episode. People love The Faculty, John.
It's a cool movie, man. That had so many before they were stars, too.
No, I think this is good. Anything else we want to cover? Talking about The Thing here?
God, I mean, it's like you said, we didn't even talk about the special effects much, but I feel like that's what everyone else talks about ad nauseum. I mean, if you haven't seen this movie and you're still listening now, I don't understand how that happened. But it's like you're doing yourself a huge disservice by not going to see this movie. This movie is one of those reasons that like damn near a decade ago, I wrote that short article series called "The Best Horror Came from the '80s."
Yeah. And
it was just about the special effects that I was writing about. They hold up so well.
Oh, I mean, it's just so everything was on scene. Like, it's like Bram Stoker's Dracula, the podcast that we covered, or the set building of Event Horizon. I mean, they built massive structures. They built real sets. They took real care. I mean, we have a pattern here, John. The Thing, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and Event Horizon. Those are 3 big budget kind of adult R-rated horror films that still look beautiful. Would you say?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good movies, man. Good. But no, this was fun. Wait, what's our 275th episode? What Kurt Russell movie are we going to cover?
Ooh, gosh.
Escape from New York, Executive Decision. We could go take, like, Used Cars.
Oh, okay.
Escape from L.A.
I like Used Cars or Escape from New York. I think those are the important directions. We never did Overboard either, did we?
No. But what do you think? Used Cars?
Used Cars. I love Used Cars.
All right, so Used Cars for our 275th episode.
And I'll bet Used Cars is the one that most of our listeners wouldn't have seen.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good one. And then for 300, we can do Escape from New York. What do you think?
Done.
All right, this was awesome. Hey, thanks for joining me, John.
All right, cheers, man.
All right, so for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for John, Norway to Run. Levengood, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week. Norway to Run.
Terrible.